Gavin Lux has been on another level with the way he has been playing of late, but is he the cheat code you need going into this weekend to pull out that win? We're talking Lux and much more on this action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino, riding solo today. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And if you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, guys, give us a chance on the Subtext platform. Through Subtext, it's an in-depth personalized experience through text messaging alerts right to your phone, offering so much more than we can in this 30-minute podcast. And if you are interested in joining us on Subtext, you can find the link wherever you're watching or listening, or if not, it's available on any of our social media platforms. And today's episode is brought to you by SuppliesHouse.com. It's the most reliable way to get parts fast. Shop your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at supplyhouse.com. And you know what, guys? We're doing must-add players today. If you're new around here and you don't know the drill, we're going to start with hitters today, and in the second half, we're going to move into pitchers. But at the top, I think we have one of the most interesting names in the game right now, and it's Gavin Lux of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The kid's been playing out of his mind recently. If you don't know, Gavin Lux was one of the top-end prospects going back about, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago at this point, and just never really lived up to the hype. The injuries had gotten to him, and, we really, I think pretty much everybody in the community thought Gavin Lux was done for, but he is now revived from the dead, and over the past 2 weeks, Gavin Lux has gone 15 for 49, which is good for a 306 batting average with 8 runs and 4 home runs and 9 RBIs over that time. He's been magnificent. He's eligible at second in outfield on Yahoo. Lux is up to 57% rostered, but I still think that leaves enough leagues where Gavin Lux is available that we just need to get him on our teams at this point. Second base has been a very tough position this year. Outfield, another tough position. He has the eligibility at both. Gavin Lux does. He's been hitting fifth of late, right in the middle of that lineup. So the RBI opportunities are there, and he's been driving them in. I mean, Gavin Lux, the underlying stuff doesn't look like amazing overall, but then again, he's only been heating up, I'd say, over the past month or so. So this may not necessarily look great on the season, but Gavin Lux at 26 years old, top-end prospect, I think he's definitely worthy of the ad for now, at least if it's just to see where the thing goes with Gavin Lux, playing on one of the best teams in the game. I think there's a lot to like here. He's not super fast, though. Can steal a base here or there. He's got 4 of those on the season. I'm not shocked he hasn't stolen a base during this little hot streak here. I want to, say since August 12th, he's played every single game for the Dodgers. He could chip in a bag here and there too. So we could see that from Gavin Lux. I really do like him. Once again, Gavin Lux, Los Angeles Dodgers, 57% owned on Yahoo. Go out there and make sure he isn't available in your league. And if he is, make some room because I think Gavin Lux is going to finish the season very strong. I don't know if we're going to see too many bats that we're going to be able to pick up that are going to perform better than Gavin Lux. Let's move on to another former high-end prospect. Let's talk some Spencer Torkelson, right? Spencer Torkelson, just another dude that hasn't lived up to the hype as far as being one of the top prospects in all of baseball. Torkelson, though, I will say this about him. The pop is there. I just have a lot of faith in him in the sense of he could hit 30 home runs, hit 240 in a good year with a nice RBI total. Has been hitting the ball better since getting called back up from the minors. He has a homer in his last game. He had a 4-for-4 game, Torkelson did on August 20th. And then in his first game back, he went 2-for-3. So there's a lot to like here. 37% owned on Yahoo. I know he's teased us so many times, even last year. On the whole, last year, if you go back and look at Spencer Torkelson's numbers as a 23-year-old, 159 games last year, 606 at-bats. He had 88 runs, which is a plus, 34 doubles, helping you in those points league, 31 homers, 94 RBIs, even chipped in 3 steals with, 67 walks, 171 strikeouts. So I take that back. Might not be the best points league guy. Hit 233, right? So we know there is something there with him. If he can get on one of those Torkelson-like runs, I mean, yeah, he could be hot for, a month and hit, 8 home runs in a month with a bunch of RBIs. So I think we need to give Torkelson the shot, especially if you need the first base help. The Detroit Tigers team itself that Torkelson plays for, they're getting some guys back. They got him. They got Riley Green. Meadows is back. They called up Jace Young. So there could be some good things going on there for the end of the season. I think, like I said, you need a first baseman. You could do worse than Torkelson. But let's move on. Let's talk some Kerry Carpenter of those Detroit Tigers, another name that just makes that team super interesting. I know every time that Matt and I bring the Detroit Tigers up, we see a bright future there, especially even Jackson Jobe there, their the top pitching prospect in all of baseball. So there is some pitching there as well. But once again, we are going to focus on Mr. Kerry Carpenter here. Kerry Carpenter just coming back off of the IL. Honestly, I wouldn't say he hasn't missed a beat, but looked really good in the first couple of games where he had the double dong and homered in the game after that. Then slumped for 4 games, hit another home run on the 21st of August. Kerry Carpenter did. So I honestly think he's just going to find that nice rhythm. He's hitting 277 on the year. I believe in that. The underlying stuff believes in a lot of the things that Kerry Carpenter does well. So, that's why I'm going to believe in them too. And he's just been very impressive over his whole, minor league career. Impressed me last year in the majors, over 118 games. He had 278 with 20 homers and 6 steals. So, there's a little bit of wheels on Kerry Carpenter as well. So I think he's really somebody we need to look at. 56% owned or severely under owned for Kerry Carpenter. That should honestly be. I think every league that's still active, Kerry Carpenter should be owned in, to be honest with you. Just because the kid is so good. The talent's there. Underlying stuff is there. Wasn't really a super high-end prospect, but he did have enough pedigree that I look at him and I'm like, okay. When I saw he got called up, back in 2022, right? I went and looked at what he was doing in the minors, and I was just so impressed. In 2022 in the minors, Kerry Carpenter, 98 games, and that's across AA and AAA, 358 at-bats, 60 runs, 27 doubles, 30 homers, 75 RBIs, 3 steals, and he hit 313. So he has the tools. He has the tools to get it done. Like I said, Kerry Carpenter, honestly, he might just be right up there with Gavin Lux for me as just it's a pause the podcast moment, see if he's available in your league. And if he is, you got to add him just because there's not going to be many other options that come up, this time of year. I really think the only reason that Kerry Carpenter is this widely available is because he hit the IL and he missed as much time as he did. Otherwise, a guy like this would be universally owned. So Kerry Carpenter, definitely a must add at 56% owned on Yahoo. We got to get that up. Let's grab another name here with the bats. Let's talk some Mason Wynn of those St. Louis Cardinals. Mason Wynn, just a name that we've talked about a lot this year. So as I was scrolling through, all the names that, I was potentially going to throw on today's episode, I saw 36% owned for Mason Wynn. I felt like I just needed to talk about him one more time because 277 average on the year for Mason Wynn, 117 games played, 60 runs, 11 homers, 44 RBIs, and 10 steals. He really does it all. He's leading off for the Cardinals, and he's just been on some sort of tear. Even let's do the last 2 weeks. I know the last week in particular has been great, but the last no, actually, let's do it by the last week for Mr. Mason Wynn here. Let's do the last week. So the last week for Mr. Mason Wynn, 318 batting average with 4 runs, 2 homers, and 3 RBIs. And Mason Wynn's actually a guy who's really, really fast too. So we could see him even potentially, stealing more bases. Haven't seen it too much of late, which is a little bit surprising to me, but a bunch of multi-hit efforts for Mason Wynn over even the past month kind of, does it in doses, to be honest with you. He'll dump out for a couple of games. You'll see a couple 0 for 4s, but he'll bounce right back. In his last 2 games in particular, Mason Wynn, 2 for 5 on August 22nd. On August 21st, he went 3 for 6. So this is a guy who's proven it at the major league level, for a whole season now almost, just a little bit under that. But Mason Wynn, 36% owned on Yahoo, shortstop eligible. And I know shortstop's been another position that it's just been harder to find guys, to get out there, especially dealing with injuries and stuff like that. I feel like more bats have gone down than arms of late. So Mason Wynn can definitely fill a couple of holes for your fantasy baseball team when it comes to a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. Even the counting stats haven't been bad. So you can definitely take a look his way. We have one more bat for you, and then we have a bunch of great pitchers, a closer, and a bunch of starters, and those names are coming up next. And guys, get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business, and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and have to turn down the shouting with all that volume? Make the switch over to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for your everyday to bring you the biggest stories without all that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you the biggest stories, brings you the can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And then once again, Matt and I are introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Diamond Club the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. As this season wraps up, you can rely on Matt and I for our dynamic content and help get you to that fantasy baseball championship as you're getting real-time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call-up notifications, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience to a new level. And all right, guys, I promised it. I said that we have one more bat, and we do have one more bat for you, and it's actually a catcher. It's somebody I've been wanting to talk about. Let's talk about Adrian Del Castillo of those Miami Marlins. And Del Castillo is an interesting one. Guy kind of came out of nowhere a little bit and actually has been raking. If you missed out on the Austin Wells and the guys like that, Castillo's out there, only 15% owned on Yahoo. It looks like he plays a couple days, takes a day off, plays a couple days, takes a day off. Honestly, better than a lot of catchers right now. Hitting 361 through his first 10 games with 6 runs, 3 homers, 14 RBIs, and a steal as well. Del Castillo, like I said, has kind of come out of nowhere to surprise us and, play this good. He's not somebody that, I'm sorry. I don't know why I said he plays for the Miami Marlins. I'm losing it. Arizona Diamondbacks. Del Castillo plays for kind of almost, because I was thinking of Alejandro Kirk. He is almost of that Alejandro Kirk build, 5'10", 208. A little bit more of a buffer guy than Kirk, who's a little bit stubbier. But a short dude, has a little bit of pop in the bat. Barrels up the ball well, finds that sweet spot nicely. Has good bat speed. He's not very fast, so I don't know if we're going to be expecting too many steals down the stretch here from Del Castillo. But yeah, he has chipped in one already. Had 6 RBIs on August 19th, and as I said, plays for those Arizona Diamondbacks, one of the better teams to play for right now. Been hitting 6th, driving in a lot of runs. If you need somebody, I know there's a lot of 2-catcher leagues out there that he's available in. If he's only 15% owned, definitely get him in those 2 catchers. Definitely get him in those NL onlys. Even in your 12-mans, like I said, missed out on Austin Wells, guys like that. You're looking for somebody at the catcher position. Adrian Del Castillo is somebody that I like. Has good underlying stats. Was the 20th actually the Diamondbacks number 14 prospect. So, he did have a little bit of pedigree to him. So we're not dealing with somebody, who has, just completely come out of left field. So Adrian Del Castillo, catcher, you can give him a chance, plays for those Arizona Diamondbacks. Guys, let's move into the pitching half of this episode. And let's start with Bowden Francis. Bowden Francis, interesting name. Has been very impressive over his last few starts. Against the Angels up on the 24th, so that one's going to be fun. The Angels really don't have anybody left. Trout's gone. Castillo, Rengifo's gone. So, I think that's a comfy one. And Bowden Francis is only 38% owned on Yahoo, as I mentioned in his last 2. Very good. One was against the Cubs on August 18th. Went 7 innings, no earned runs, 0.43 whip, got the win, 7 strikeouts. And he actually pitched against these Angels on August 12th, went 7, got the win, 8 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and a 0.14 whip. Bowden Francis on the year has a very good whip at a 1.15, 63 innings, 58 strikeouts. Not a big strikeout total there with a 4.38 ERA. He might not be a long-term solution. I will say this, the starting pitching market has become barren if you're in any kind of competitive league. So, when you see a guy like this, hey, you can at least grab him, throw him out there until, the flame runs out. Has been successful against the team he's going up against, which isn't a good team at all, those Angels. So for Bowden Francis, Toronto Blue Jays starting pitcher, I think we could at least give him the start for now and just kind of see where the thing goes with Bowden Francis, because I'll be honest with you, the underlying stuff doesn't really love him. The fastball is not blowing you away at, sitting at an average of 93. He throws the curveball 22% of the time, but if he's throwing his fastball 53% of the time, and he mixes in a couple other pitches, but nothing, like I said, the curveball's at 22% of the time, throws a split finger 16 and a slider 7%. So you're not seeing a too big variety. I mean, his fastball is actually, I'll be honest, it's been working. It's been working though, because batters are only hitting 198 against it. So that's a good sign. But the other stuff is where he's getting dominated. The curveball's getting hit at a 326 clip. The slider, 353 clip. Split finger's been okay for him. I think that's why he's been good at times. Like I said, the fastball's kind of just been working. He's been relying on that. Don't think that's going to last forever, though, especially when it's not like a great fastball. It's just a decent fastball for Bowden Francis. So like I said, not probably relying on him, just at least see where it goes with this next start. And then you can ride him for the next one after that if you need to. 38% owned for Bowden Francis. I'm comfortable adding him at the moment. Let's move on to another starting pitcher here. Let's talk David Peterson of the New York Mets. And I like David Peterson a little bit more. Peterson, somebody a little bit more familiar with, been around for a couple of years, has had success in the bigs before, but the control is not there. On the season, it's a 3 ERA through 17 starts for David Peterson. It's a 1.36 whip, 78 innings, 64 strikeouts. But you know what the thing is? He can strike guys out at times. His last actually 4 starts have been really good for Peterson. One of those was in Coors. The last one was against Baltimore for Peterson. It was 7 strong, an earned run, 8 strikeouts, and actually 2 earned runs in this one, and a 1 whip. So, the control was actually pretty good for David Peterson. And his next one against San Diego. San Diego isn't a team that really super scares me with no Tatis. Hassan Kim's a little bit banged up. They don't really got too many big names there. I think David Peterson can handle that lineup. He's only 30% owned. So with, like I said, the starting pitcher market being the way it is, we can take a look David Peterson's way, and I don't think we're going to be super disappointed. I got a couple of more starting pitchers and a closer, but you're going to have to stay locked on. You don't want to miss those names coming up next. And guys, whenever I need to pick me up after a night out or it's a really hot day and I need to be hydrated now, I get myself a liquid IV. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America, because baseball and summer go together like liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Blast off with the iconic summer flavor of the Popsicle Firecracker, a festive blend of citrus-fueled lemon lime, tart cherry, and raspberry flavors. Honestly, that one is my favorite. And you can find all of your favorite flavors on their websites, from acai berry, lemon lime, the pina colada. So no more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using the promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. Tear, pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Powered by LIV HydroSense, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And guys, Tonal is the world's smartest and most effective strength training system that helps you get stronger, powered by AI. Tonal learns with every rep so it can deliver workouts personalized just for you. Tonal learns from your movement and provides suggested weight recommendations for every move with detailed progress reports. They even create a personalized program and workout suggestions or recommendations based on your individual goals. It's like having a personal trainer at home with you, as Tonal will optimize every workout just for you. Unlike traditional gym equipment, Tonal uses adaptive digital weight to advance your training techniques, from professional athletes to the mom of 3. Tonal is trusted by thousands who have become their strongest. Right now, Tonal is offering our listeners $200 off your Tonal purchase with the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Tonal.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $200 off. And all right, guys, got a couple of more really good start. Well, maybe not really good, but good enough starting pitchers that you need them, at least consider them for your fantasy teams, and then a closer. So the first starting pitcher we're going to talk about is Colin Rea. Colin Rea, I just feel like we can't ignore it anymore. He's been solid. I honestly wasn't a huge believer in Colin Rea, but, this season's really proved me wrong through his 21 starts. He has 11 wins, a 3.52 ERA, a 1.15 WHIP, 135 innings, and 108 strikeouts. Has been pretty solid through his last 6 starts, 1 bad one. So, I'll take that. Against some good teams, too. He's really good against the Braves twice, good against the Cubs. He did get hit against the Dodgers, but was really good against Cleveland, one of the better teams in the game right now. He gets Oakland on the 24th. Oakland's been, kind of up and down this year. They have scored a lot of runs at times, but for the most part, it is a handleable lineup, and I think we could trust Colin Rea for that. He's up to 58% owned, and he plays for those Milwaukee Brewers. I like the prospects of him. We got to get guys on our teams that have good numbers. I honestly don't know why a guy like this that has been pretty solid for the whole year isn't more widely owned. The underlying stuff for Colin Rea, honestly, all of his pitches get great movement and stuff on them. Doesn't really walk a lot of guys and gets good extension. Other than that, the underlying stuff isn't great. But you know what? I'll say this. Colin Rea has this going for him. He has 1, 2, 3, 4 pitches that he throws at least 17% of the time. And then he even mixes in 2 more pitches for 8 and 4% of the time for a total of 6 pitches. Leads with the sinker cutter combo and has that fastball as well on there. And honestly, he's been getting pretty solid results on the pitches that he uses the most. So I like me some Colin Ray. So you know what, we can go out there and at least add him for his next one. And honestly, I think he's going to be useful for even more than that. 58% owned for Colin Ray. Should be probably owned in all the leagues that are active right now. I'm going to go out there and say that because you know what, I just feel like this is the time of year. I'm going to go on a quick little rant here. Is that a lot of owners really aren't doing the work on their team that they need to. A lot of teams have transitioned over to fantasy football this time of year. So this time of year, take a good look at your fantasy baseball team and say, you know what? See who hasn't been performing the past month. You might be surprised. Look at the, and once again, I'm ranting now, the Nick Lodolos, the Nick Pavettas, names like that just haven't been good. And get the Colin Rays, the David Petersons, the Bowden Francises. Even if you're streaming on a week-to-week basis, when it comes to the bottom end of your rotation, it's worth it just to put up those numbers. And another guy that can help you do that is David Festa. Let's get back into the names here. I rant sometimes just to make sure that we're all aware and following the process here when we're playing fantasy baseball. But David Festa, another guy that's been up and down this year, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His last 5 starts have been pretty good. A lot of strikeouts in those starts. A couple of good teams. Was pretty solid against Cleveland. Was good in his last one against Texas. Was good against the Cubs and the Mets. The Mets have been actually pretty good of late, and even against the Phillies. Another good one there for him in his last 5 starts. On the year, numbers don't look great for Festa, but you know what? We're just talking about right now. He's 14% owned on Yahoo. If you have same day ads, he's pitching. On August 23rd, as you're listening, I'm recording this the day before. Let's see if we can see who Colin Ray actually has after that to see if it's another good start. But if you can get him for this one against the Cardinals, I like that. Cardinals aren't really a threat to me. After that, he does get the Braves, and then Tampa after that. So if you can get the good St. Louis start, the Braves one might be a little bit tougher. But I think David Festa can be good against Tampa Bay in the one after that. And that one should be in the week of the fantasy baseball playoffs if you're starting early like you should. So I think we can give David Festa the shot. Had a little bit of prospect pedigree. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. So I'm going to add him where I can for now. But I might fade him for that Brave start. In deeper leagues, 14% owned for David Festa, Minnesota Twins. He's out there in a lot of leagues. Let's move on to the last guy of the day. Let's talk about Lucas Erceg. Kind of saved him for last because, if you're from around here, or if you've listened to the pod of late, he is somebody that we've brought up. But you know what? The ownership percentage is still pretty low for Erceg. A guy who is closing definitively with not really too much competition. 42% owned for Erceg. And he's just been really, really, really good this year. 47 appearances for Erceg, 2 wins, 6 saves, 2.87 ERA, a 1.02 whip, 47 innings with 55 strikeouts over that time. Honestly, should be universally owned. David Erceg should. Like I said, this guy's just been fantastic. Has good stuff. I really do like him. On Kansas City team, which, they fight. They fight. That's the thing. You want a closer on a team that's going to be in close games because they're going to have more opportunities for saves. And I will say this, even over the last since August 10th, Erceg has 3 saves, a bunch of strikeouts over that time. So he's helping you in your ratios, your strikeouts, and your saves. You gotta love it. That's all the names for today. But once again, kind of just want to, reiterate the fact, don't give up this time of year. You're fighting for a playoff spot. Go over that roster in depth. I'll even say this, guys, if you want to give us a chance on subtext, link in bio, wherever you're listening or watching, Matt and I send us screenshots of your roster, your waiver wire list, and we'll kind of help get you in the position of where you need to be to get you that locked on championship. This isn't the time of the year to cut corners. Join us on Subtext. So we're super responsive on there, and we will make sure you are in striking distance to win your locked on championship. And even if you're in first or second, make sure you go over that roster. Don't feel comfortable. Make those tough moves. I'll say this. I had one league where I was going over my waiver wire about 2 weeks ago. Tristan Casas was out there. I was like, oh, wow. Didn't even know that he was dropped. So, scour those waiver wires. Make sure there isn't, hidden gems sitting out there. And make sure you're trimming the that where needed. But guys, that is all for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Shout out to our everydayers and listeners for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. And after you make us your first listen each and every day, check out our buddy Sully at Locked On MLB. Covers the whole league, gets a little bit more in depth than we do on this 30-minute podcast here talking about fantasy. So make sure you check Sully out on Locked On MLB. And guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Check you out next time. See ya.